can. I was born and raised in the south side of Chicago and in a neighborhood that was a unique enclave of white, mostly Jewish families, and grew up in a healthy, warm, loving family with three siblings who all still care about each other a great deal, even though none of us live near each other. Um, I would say that my life dramatically changed in my early teens between my bar mitzvah year in seventh grade and eighth grade graduation from grammar school, when the neighborhood, like many other neighborhoods in the world, let alone the south side of Chicago, changed from white to black in an instant. And our neighborhood dynamic changed, and I saw all of my friends who I grew up with one by one moving to the south suburbs and the north suburbs, and my family stayed in the neighborhood because my dad was the neighborhood milkman, and we weren't going anywhere. So I went to high school as a minority when all my other siblings went there as the majority. And it really changed and formed who I was and how I learned to adapt and get along with people and survive in an environment that wasn't what I expected it to be. How it affected me from my Jewish life was also rather unique because I became rather disillusioned at a very young age when I knew as the neighborhood was about to change. There was a meeting at my then temple, which was I was raised conservatively, and the leaders of the temple, both the rabbi and the administration, talked about how we might keep the neighborhood consistent and firm, and we should all stick together and see if we could not sell our homes and move away. And the rabbi was the first person to leave, and I knew that, and it was pretty obvious, and it really tainted how I looked at not only my life but my Jewish life. And quite honestly, I opted out for a long time, especially since I went to a high school where I was in a high school that was a large high school of 4,000 people. But when I graduated, I was one of 10 Jews in my class, of the graduating class of 1,000 people. So it was a rather dramatic change in my life, and religion was present in my life, but it was something that I ended up having to defend myself quite a bit about in a school that was about 40% black, 40% Hispanic, 20% white, and the other white people in the neighborhood were really not as friendly towards me as I would have liked it to be. So, how did it change my life? It did. And I went along in my business life and really didn't give much thought to being a participating Jew. In other words, didn't go to temple, didn't participate in services, but still understood who I was and what my heritage was, and who I was as a Jew. I met my wife, Jody, who was an active member of the congregations that she was in and was an active member of religious schools because she was a curriculum development director in the past for religious schools, and has a master's in Judaic education and philosophy. And needless to say, a Jewish life was an important part of her life, and if I was going to be a part of her life, a Jewish life was going to be a part of my life. For the fact that I met and married Jody, and she had two children, and those children were also very young and getting ready to go to religious school, I re-entered my life as a Jew. So that was my, quite frankly, biggest change in my life from my early childhood to my adulthood when it comes to being a participant in the Jewish faith.